Last night, almost 3 million people watched this broadcast to find out about George Soros. Last night, we introduced you to the puppet master, billionaire, financier George Soros, notorious for collapsing economies and regimes all around the world. He's known as the man who broke the Bank of England. The Prime Minister of Malaysia called Soros an unscrupulous profiteer. In Thailand, he was branded the economic war criminal. They also said that he sucks the blood from people. In 1994, George Soros stated, quote, "Just right that the former Soviet Empire is now called the Soros Empire." Combine these credits with his power, along with his financial fortune, it is no wonder that he fancies himself some sort of god. That's not something that we have said. That is something that he claims. He has described himself over and over again as some sort of god, even as the conscience of the world.
Yes, I did say that, and actually I stand by it. I think the world very much needs a conscience. I want my foundation network to be the conscience of the world.
Okay, he wants it to be the conscience of the world. Well, he's a very, very generous man. Most people in the world know him as a philanthropist. Huge charity guy. Well, we'll look into that charity tonight. He gets a kick out of playing God. It's actually amusing to him. He says, in his own words, it's a game. Unfortunately, what Mr. Soros forgets is these are real people. This is not some game. Real lives are being destroyed for his financial gain and for his power. I'm called a hate monger because I have conservative views and positions like, I don't know, let people keep their money. But let me tell you this, it takes a cold, cold heart to have full knowledge that what you are doing to make a buck is literally destroying the lives of people. And now he's messing with your life. He says, in his own words, America is his next target.
I became concerned with the problems of globalization, where you have global markets, but you have politics based on the sovereignty of states. So how do you deal with that issue? And then I came to the realization that open society is endangered by our current leadership in this country, and that is when I refocused my attention on the United States.
He has focused his attention. This isn't a hypothesis. This has been proven. This is what this man does. He has done it before, and now he wants an orderly decline of the dollar. His words, not mine. If you thought $5 or $4 a gallon gas is painful, wait until Soros devalues your dollar even more. Forget about driving. How about eating? We've told you just recently, I've told you this for, 2 years now, that they would devalue the dollar and that inflation would come. Financial Times reported it today. It's about to be added to your grocery bill, and if you're the one in the household doing the grocery shopping, you've already seen it, but oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. As they devalue our dollar, an orderly decline. You'll start to see prices like one group, inflation group, predicted that it will soon cost $11.43 for an ear of corn, 1 ear. How about going to the grocery store and seeing a price tag on a loaf of wheat bread of $23.05. This sugar, this size, 32 ounces of sugar, $62.21. For the milk, good old soy milk, I mean, who doesn't? Smooth and delicious, $24.31 for this size. For a container of this coffee, Folgers, 11.5 ounces, $77.71. For a container of orange juice, not this size, but for 64 fluid ounces, Minute Maid orange juice, they are now saying it will be $45.71. And one thing that I couldn't believe, and we called the experts and asked them, okay, please tell me that this Institute on Inflation is nuts. No, they're not, unfortunately. I couldn't believe that one candy bar, one Hershey's milk chocolate candy bar, 1.5 ounces, Hershey's milk chocolate, $15.50. This, Mr. Soros, is not a game. At least not for the schlubs outside of your world. I don't know anybody inside the world of George Soros. Well, you've got Timothy Geithner, you have Ben Bernanke, you have most of the politicians in Washington. We're the ones who are going to risk in this game. When he manages the decline of our dollar, him and his minions in Washington, who do you think pays the price? Will it be him or will it be you? You see, he knows what's coming. And because of that, he can hedge. He knows exactly where to go. He knows where the exits are. And he's done it over and over again. He will gain profit and power, and you will lose both. He's playing God, which is fine by him, because he's an atheist. So there has to be a God who's going to fill that void. Well, he's smart enough to do it. In one transcript, he said that he was benevolent just like God. He sees the future just like God. So what does God's Bible preach? Globalization.
Open society is a desirable form of social organization, both as a means to an end and as an end in itself.
Okay. That's, by the way, the replacement of the republic, an open society. This is not a leap of faith. I'm stating this as fact. And as I told you last night at glennbeck.com and on theblaze.com, you will find all of these facts, all of the research. Do not take my word for it. Not one bit on this show. Do not take my word for it. Read about it yourself. Most of it comes in the form of his own words. Come on over here for a second. These are, many of these are the books that we use to prepare this show. And many of these books are written by him. This one, this one, this one. You can read about it. He's not shy about telling you. I mean, God wrote a book too. He wrote 3. Because of his own words, we know what to look for. We know the signs. We know what he's done in the past to bring down regimes. He's left a blueprint, a pattern to look for. And now that Soros is saying that he has turned his focus and set his sights on America, don't you think we should look at his past and see how he's done it before? What are the footprints? Where is he leaving fingerprints? How did he do it? 4 or 5 times before. Well, we also should look at what has he accomplished so far. How far down that line is he? Tonight, we look at the puppet master's latest work of art, America Under Siege. All right, George Soros has his sights on America. So how does he view us? Well, it's easy. He views us like this. America is the main obstacle to a stable and just world order. The United States. His words, not mine. So not only does he want to bring America to her knees financially, he wants to reap obscene profits off us as well. Like when he made $1 billion off the collapse of the British sterling. His claim, not mine.
The money that I made on this particular transaction, the estimate is about $1 billion.
You were the guy, they said, who broke the Bank of England.
Right, and
did.
Well, that's true.
He's just a lovable old spooky dude. By the way, his people, when they met with my number 2 in a story that I told you last night, and remember, left us this threat, this gift, he says they didn't really make that much off it. So is he lying then or is he lying now? Which is it? This man causes misery in his wake. People's lives were ruined. Retirement accounts, savings, jobs, all gone. Grandma and grandpa saved their whole life. Gone. And he just walks away. You've saved your whole life. If you've put all your money away for retirement, it's now worth 30% less in the last 10 years. And it's about to be worth a lot less. What are you going to do? You're going to go back and get another job? See, he doesn't think about that stuff because your life is a game to this man. And again, listen to George Soros in his own words.
When you try to, let's say, improve society, You affect different people and different interests differently, and they are not actually commensurate. So you very often have all kinds of unintended adverse consequences. So I had to experiment, and it was a learning process. The first part was this subversive activity, disrupting repressive regimes. That was a lot of fun, and that's actually what got me hooked on this whole enterprise.
That was a lot of fun, experimenting with people's lives. This is what happens when people put themselves in an elite category, or appoint themselves rulers, or in his case, see themselves as some sort of a god. You become a plaything, and he is the all-knowing, all-seeing creator. He has been playing this game for a very long time, but before I show you how he's playing it now and what is coming, I want to start in Czechoslovakia. Half a century ago in Czechoslovakia. It was a scary, scary time to live in this part of the world. The world was changing. Europe was on fire, joblessness, hunger. Hunger was on the rise. People didn't know what to do. Protesters started rioting in the streets. The average person was frightened out of their mind, and so what did they do? They begged the government, please bring order. Stop the people rioting in the streets. Well, they did. And the next thing the average person knew, they were a communist country. It is important to remember this story, because that's what history books would tell you. But there's now new documents out that were never supposed to be released. And it plays directly into today and what's happening in America. And we'll get to that by the bottom of the hour. But right now I want to show you the signs. What is George Soros trying to do? What is it? How does he do it? After country after country after country, we found that there are 5 steps to him gaining control. He does it over and over and over again. So let's see what the steps are, and let's see if he's done any of them here. The first one is form a shadow government using a humanitarian aid as cover. This is what he just said. It's kind of funny. It's kind of fun. The first step, he said, is subversive activities. Okay? Step 2, control the airwaves. Fund existing radio and TV outlets and take control over them, or start your own outlets. Remember, take control of existing or start your own. Step 3, destabilize the state. Weaken the government and build an anti-government kind of feeling in the country. You exploit an economic crisis or take advantage of an existing crisis. Pressure from the top and the bottom. This will allow you to weaken the government and build anti-government public sentiment. Step 4, you provoke an election crisis. You wait for an election, and during the election you cry voter fraud. Step 5, take power. You stage massive demonstrations, civil disobedience, sit-ins, general strikes. You encourage activism. You promote voter fraud, tell followers what to do through your radio and television stations. Well, let's start at the beginning, shall we? Do any of those sound familiar? This is the way George Soros takes country down. Every time. Every time. Again, he's done it. How many times, Joe? 4 or 5? 4 times. 4 times before. We'll be number 5. So let's go back here. The 5 steps to control. The first one is form a shadow government using humanitarian aid as a cover. Now, is he doing this? Well, let me start with the central George Soros operation, which is OSI. This is his main group. OSI. It is the Open Society Institute. It sounds warm and fuzzy, and to hear the way they tell it, it is warm and fuzzy. Oddly enough, yesterday, in a sign of, I think, total panic and collapse, OSI released a video talking all about all the wonderful things that George Soros does. It's fantastic. It must have cost them a fortune to put this up. Coincidentally, it's released the day that we do our special to show you that he's just a lovable old philanthropist. That's all he does. He cares about people. Oh, I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does. Because he's a humanitarian. He's a philanthropist, you know. He gives tons of money. I'll show you that whole thing at the end of the show.